What is going on out there? Bobby Fi here. What's up, everybody? I know there's not that many people in there yet, so hopefully y'all can jump in soon and we will get through this slate. We've got some serious weather concerns in Philly, which is a very scary one. So we better hope there's no delayed start there. We've got Tampa Bay, Detroit with a few storms around there. We've got some big storms in around Cleveland, but mostly they seem like they'll be probably out of the way. But again, I'm just that's just where I'm at right now. So it's a little bit tricky. It's a tough slate to try to get different as it is because of the size of it. So trying to figure all this stuff out is definitely giving me a little bit of a headache. As of right now, here's what I'm doing. And then please fire on in questions, fire on in thoughts as you get there. The more you guys do, the more we'll go on. If not, we won't. It's just the way that it is. And yeah, so that's where I am. Oh, I didn't even realize Mancini wasn't in the lineup today. I have to make some more changes. So the guys I'm using, I have Springs as my priority. If the delay possibility in Houston does take away some Verlander love, I also like Manoah. But I'm sort of mixing it up today. I'm actually playing more pitchers than usual. I have Springs and Verlander. Springs, Verlander, Manoah all sort of right about the same ownership. Syndergaard after them, and then I'm going to take some weird shots and play some Bubich Reagan's lineups. And just get weird with it. Smaller slate, double spend down, guys we can spend up on, get some different stacks in there. I think that's an interesting route to go. Stacks for me are in no order: Philly, Houston, Tampa Bay, Chicago White Sox. I think the White Sox are my favorite in terms of getting over on the field, just because I don't think they're going to be there. Now, as I said, I am also playing some Bubich in other lineups. But as of right now, I've got a lot of White Sox stacks and mini stacks. I'm also not fully stacking. Again, you guys hear me talk about this a lot. It's been working out really well. It hasn't quite gotten me all the way there lately. I keep getting second, third, fourth, 10th, mostly in the 250s, the 88s, and I just can't quite get the really big one. But hopefully we will get that big one very shortly. And I like these 4-4s, 4-2-2s, 4-3-1s, smaller slate, the easier it is to do. That's what I'm doing. Gonna say what's up to my man Sharks, who's already in here. Appreciate that. And I'm just gonna go position by position on DK, and I'll talk a little FanDuel right after. I have Molina as a cheap option at catcher for my DK lineups. Real Muto, Sal Perez, Keibert Ruiz in that order are my next three favorites. Love Abreu and Andrew Vaughn, but using Vaughn more in the outfield. G-Man Choi and Goldie would be my other favorite. That's Paul Goldschmidt for those of you who just tuning in for the first time. Second base, Tommy Edman, St. Louis mini stacks or stacks, Brandon Lau, Jose Altuve are my three guys I'm using. Third base, Alec Baum. I like Paredes in Tampa Bay stacks, and that's pretty much where I'll be using him. Arenado and Bregman. I think Baum would be the best per value, but you could do a lot of different things. I love Tim Anderson at short. He's my top shortstop today, followed by Jeremy Pena and Paul DeJong. Paul DeJong's super cheap on FanDuel, so keep that in mind. Outfield, Schwarber is the chalky one. I love Vaughn and Jimenez. Wondering where their ownership is going to be. I'll take a look at that in just a second. Alvarez, I like Houston a little less now with no Kyle Tucker, but I still like them. Alvarez, Ledmus Diaz. I have some Melendez where I'm playing Perez in the outfield. I have a few Melendez lineups. Castellanos is really cheap on DK and FanDuel. On FanDuel, I'm finding myself, most of the tournaments I'm playing are a little bit smaller field, so I'm eating a little more chalk. One-off I really like on FanDuel. I mean, Javi Baez is really cheap. I don't mind taking him against the lefty in Springs. He is the most likely one to do damage. And then I like St. Louis and Philadelphia as a combo stack over there, sort of probably my favorites. So get on in here, say what's up. And sorry about that. Just had to deal with some practical stuff. And we will talk through if you guys have any questions. I still think Verlander is the most obvious option on FanDuel, but I have no problem if you want to play Springs instead. They're literally – I'm going to guess that they're going to be basically the same ownership. Let me just double check that actually, because I think maybe people might even go more Springs here. Still shocked by that Springs pop. I did post my bets of the day up today, and seems like they just don't think anybody's going to strike anybody out today. So everybody's strikeout rate numbers are low, and I get it. I get why. But there's no extreme umpires on the slate. As of right now, I guess Verlander will be more popular than Springs, but I think it'll go Verlander, Springs, Syndergaard on FanDuel. I'm not playing Quintana at the moment. Could be a mistake against his old team, not his last team, but his old team. I think there's upside for Quintana enough to play him. I just personally prefer Springs. And then I have the Syndergaard versus him discussion. And then I also, like I said, as much as I like the White Sox, I am going to be playing some Bubic in some lineups as well. And I just think the White Sox are just getting a little bit overlooked today. But I also think, I'm sorry, Bubic is against Boston, excuse me. And Boston, with the lineup they run out there, I actually think that it's a better lineup than I was expecting. But that's really just 1 through 4. Everybody else, I feel like, or I guess 1 through 5, depending on Jalen Davis is batting first, so 2 through 5. I feel like Bubic could be successful enough. He's actually been better than people think lately. And the guy who I'm worried about not having any of is Pivetta, so I'm probably going to make sure to add a little bit of Pivetta soon. Weather in St. Louis, there's weather on literally 5 games. So weather in St. Louis is one of the best weather. It's probably the best weather of any of the games that are questionable. So I wouldn't worry as much about the St. Louis one. A possible late start, I'm not going to worry about that. So, guys, with no questions or no anything, there's nothing for us to do. Okay, here we go. Do I think it's crazy to fade the Phillies? Absolutely not. Why would it be crazy to fade the Phillies? This is not like you're not automatically going to win the slate. I don't think there's anything wrong with fading the Phillies. There's nothing wrong with fading anybody ever in DFS. So I sometimes won't do it with certain teams, but I have no problem. I have plenty of lineups without Phillies in it, so no problem there. And please do ask questions and pop on in here, because otherwise we have to cut the show short. There's nothing really to talk about. It's not like basketball where we go back and forth on 500 different guys. This is what's happening. This is where we're at. We don't have anything else to talk about, so let's make use of our time. Tell me what you guys are doing. Tell me maybe some individual bats that you like. One that stands out to me, and one stack that I think you could get behind that I don't think people are going to be playing, is taking a shot with Atlanta. And it's just pretty rare you get Atlanta at low ownership. Also, Acuna is probably the best one-off on the board when you factor in ownership. For him to ever be 10% is probably a mistake when he's less than 6K, and he's only 5,100 right now. So, mini stacks on FanDuel. I'm just right now. I'm FanDuel. I'm just playing St. Louis and Philadelphia, so I'm not. I don't have any other mini stacks on FanDuel at the moment. I'm not playing that many lineups over there. Yeah, Goldie. I mean, you might want to differentiate a little bit. It does seem like look. It is obvious, like if you just looked at this and you played this slate out a million times, I think that Philadelphia wins the slate most often. And their prices are really hard to avoid. So I don't know. One thing you could do to be a little bit different, play Derek Hall at first base, play Brandon Marsh batting ninth. Those are your ways of getting different on the Philly stacks. Riley as a one-off is fine. I would try to do something it's just the Riley versus Acuna argument. Like, with Riley, you're just hoping he hits one out, and he does. He hits tons of home runs. Acuna, obviously, you have multiple routes with the stolen base upside. And even though Acuna has struggled this year, I still think overall in the long run, you're going to want to be playing guys like that. And even as he's struggled, he's about 1 fantasy point per game less than Riley is on the season. Actually, no, 0.6 less than Riley. And that's with Riley at his top of his game and Acuna near the bottom. You like best for pitching? I already talked about this, man. So you could start at the beginning. I'll go back to that one after I get the other question. Better stack Houston or Philly on DK? Well, so you just named I think what's going to end up being Houston won't be his own. So take that for what it is. Philly's going to more often score more runs here, but there's really weather concerns in both those games as well. I personally have less Philly stacks. I'm just taking pieces of Philly and doing little combo stacks and things like that. I think Houston ends up, a fair bit less owned than Philly does. So I would say that, I guess in that way, Houston, but it depends on what you're ranking as better. For my talking, I'm always going to talk from a tournament perspective. So I'm always going to say the team that's a little lower owned if you just give me 2 to pick from. I think the Phillies are more likely to have a better day, but at the same time, I think that and their matchup is much softer. But Houston has a better lineup, although they're missing 2 of the bats that we want in their lineup. So it's really, it depends on what you want to do. I have exposure to both of them, but I am not fully stacking Philly much because of the ownership. I am fully stacking Houston a couple times, but I think it's on I think I would now. I'm not fully stacking. I think I got 4-man stacks on Houston. I think I may have 1 5-man stack. Let's see. Yeah, just Goldie saying, yeah, they fully expected to postpone. Yeah, I don't know what you can do there. No problem, Eric. Just I can't. I'm going through other questions. It's just what we do at the beginning of the show. So, what do I think about Freeman on Cleveland as a punt play? Never even considered any bit of it. I don't know why that would be anything he would ever do. So I would say that would be a terrible play. I don't care if he hits 3 home runs tonight. No matter what, that's a terrible play to bat a number 9 hitter against Verlander in a game with weather concerns for no reason. So I would say that Freeman as a one-off would be a terrible punt play. There's tons of value out there. There's no reason why to play a guy like that. All right. I think Tampa Bay is a reasonable stack for sure. I don't know which Perez you're talking about. I'm assuming Salvador Perez. Of course, I like Salvador Perez always. After last night, will San Diego be the chalk? Yeah, probably. I think they're going to be pretty chalky a lot of days. I don't think they're going to be super chalky when they're at home because their run totals probably won't allow them to be. It's not a good hitter's park. So we'll see. They also have to face the Dodgers a bunch, which then you get really good pitching against them. San Francisco with pretty good pitching as well. So it really depends on the matchup. I can't just make a statement about who's going to be. No, I mean, it's in general, as good and talented as they are, without Tatis, I think that the Dodgers are still a significantly better team. All right, thoughts on Braves, Carrasco. I think that's a really good. So Eric, that's the one I can get the most behind. If you want to do something really different, get a Braves stack going today. That I think is very, very viable. I have respect for Carrasco. He's sort of all over the map, but this is a matchup that can be tough, and I could see the Braves getting to him. So I'm not doing much of the Braves myself, but I absolutely support it 100%. I think that's a really, really good large field GPP stack. I think it's a really, really good call. Syndergaard, I begrudgingly am playing some of him. That's the best I can do for my thoughts on him. I still see glimpses. He's definitely not what he was, but I actually think that what I would like to do is bet on his future stuff, whatever that means. I don't know if there's a way I can bet it exactly on anything, but I think he's going to actually turn out, and by next year he'll probably be all right. I think Syndergaard is fine. Again, weather concerns in that game have me a little bit pulling off. I prefer Springs over Syndergaard. Voit as a one-off versus Syndergaard. So let me think about that for a second. I'm just trying to see what other first baseman you'd be comparing. It's really hard now with Syndergaard. Yeah. I like the Voit at 3,500. I can get behind that for sure. I've got a little bit of Ruiz for what it's worth at catcher, and I don't even mind if you wanted to get a little mini stack against Syndergaard. Remember, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, I don't think you want to fully stack a team like Washington on a slate that has more than like 3 or 4 games, but getting exposure to some of these low-owned bats as a 3-man can certainly open up the rest of your lineups rather than doing what the other suggestion was playing the number 9 hitter from what's it called as a one-off against Verlander. That would be like the worst thing I could do. Yeah, I think the Braves are a really good way to get different enough to have a chance to win a big GPP. I'm not doing much of it myself because I have other ways I'm getting there. But my tournaments aren't the same size as they always are. Remember, this is not like I did consider it in my 777, but I think that Goldie is getting I think that there's less ownership on some of these guys for St. Louis than I was expecting, because maybe it's Goldie because he's so expensive, but the current projections don't have them as owned as they should be. So I would rather take the better hitters, obviously, or the better spots. But I really do like that idea of, if you're going to just get weird with the stack, I think the Braves are a really good one to get weird with. I think that 250 is probably not the tournament I would do that in, but I think it's fine to do it. Like I just would rather do it if I'm going to do it, I want to do it to win a tournament that doesn't have like a single or 4 entry max. I want to do it to beat people who are playing 30 lineups or 100 lineups or 15 or whatever it is. I don't want to do it with people who are only playing 4 lineups. So I would suggest I would say that would be the wrong tournament to do it in. But again, if it works out, it's fine. So you can do it. It's not the wrong. It's just that I would prefer to the 777 where you're trying to, beat out people who are playing 16 entries versus when you're trying to beat people who are playing 4. No, see, Eric, these are impossible questions because, of course, I don't know how many lineups you're playing. What's your exact bankroll for today? What's your exact amount? What over your overall bankroll? What percentage are you risking today? What percentage are you risking on qualifiers? Qualifiers in general are probably the worst thing you could do as a DFS player. is play qualifiers. I won a seat in everything my first few years, and I was just like, oh, cool, fun. I'm winning money. I'll do this. Qualifiers are never a good thing to play. Playing satellites to qualifiers, sure, then there's a good end result, but I can never say that what a qualifier is. But yeah, a qualifier would qualify as the kind of tournament where you're trying to take first place. I don't even know what the size of the qualifier is today, so I don't know. I just think qualifiers are terrible bets in general. I will occasionally throw some into a few little ones or something like that. Quintana is SP2. I think it's actually going to be pretty chalky, and I think it's fine. I am personally avoiding it for the most part. That's where I'm at with Quintana. Yeah, I think if you're trying, I mean, again, I don't know what the qualifier is. Is it 10 people make it? It's a qualifier to the final? Is it only one person? It's an impossible question to answer when we just say the word qualifier. So I think if you're trying to win first place of just a tournament, yes, the Braves definitely make sense, and it even could be used in the 250. That's fine. It's just I'm just saying, like, if I'm playing the 250, the 777, and then all the other stuff, I would look to play it maybe in the 88 and the 15 more than I would the others. Although I would like it better in the 777 more than I would the 250. That's where I'm at anyway. No problem, buddy. You know how I am. I always talk real harshly, but that's why Eric knows me from forever ago, from the RG days. Back for working for slave wages as opposed for no wages now, which, I guess I'm winning money, so that's wages. That's something, but it's not wages. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all. I'm going to get out of here. I would like to hear a little bit more, and I'll be in Discord about the weather, so I'm going to do a little digging on that. And good luck to everyone tonight, and hopefully somebody will take one out of here. And please pop off in our Discord. Please like before you get out of here. Let us know if you got anything that you think is a little different, like Eric's Braves thing, which I had touched on a little bit earlier. I am starting to come around to that could be the way to get different enough to win this slate. So I kind of like that. Good luck tonight, Eric, and good luck to everybody else who's been in chat. Good luck to all true DFSers.